A black man in Chad.
Oh yeah, episode 10. Here we go.
Episode 10, bro.
Nice.
Damn. It's been a long time coming on, Chad.
Yeah, it's been I think like a week or something, week plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are at double digits now, episode 10. No more 1 through 9.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it isn't easy to do what we're doing, to just kind of shoot from the hip and actually have teaching moments, have our stories and whatnot, because we know we've been through a lot and we know that we aren't we aren't the best one out there when it comes to just teaching and whatnot, but we know what we've gone through, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things too, like you said, everyone's busy. Everyone has things. So it's like, oh, you made your episode 10. How cool. It's like, yeah, we had to cut out time. Just like anything that's productive and nice, you have to cut out time to delegate to this with your busy life. You got to keep going. Oh, it's super busy this week. And you still got to do the things that you say you want to do.
Exactly.
I mean, we could wrap that around and say that's like the gym or feeding healthy relationships, taking care of your household, that kind of stuff. It's like you always got to cut out time for those things.
Right.
You're never going to be ready every week, but you got to make sure you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Cutting out time is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when something can benefit your life long term rather than the short term only. If you know something like going to the gym, if you know that can benefit your life years from now, it can prevent you from getting sickness and diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. You might want to just try to fight yourself within and just say, look, I have to actually go to the gym. I have to take care of myself. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a lot of people, is that they have so much battles within to the point where they don't know where to even begin. And at the same time, they don't know how to just get themselves out of that kind of mindset of, can I do this today? Should I do this today? It's probably best you actually go out there and do something today if you're actually going through certain things within your life.
And that's usually a check right there too, is if you're in your head, let's just say you're like, oh, can I go to the gym today? Or, oh, should I really do my positive habits, right? Like if you, have like a grateful list, or we talk about journaling the last couple of times.
Right.
Or maybe just hitting up those healthy relationships in your life. It's like, you got to make sure you delegate the time for those. But I notice if you start talking to yourself and are in your head,
right,
sometimes you talk yourself out of it, like, oh, I could go to the gym later, or, oh, today can be a cheat day. Like you have like that little inner voice. It's like the angel and the devil sort of thing.
Right.
Where it's like you got one side that's saying, oh, you've earned a break, or it's okay to slack. And the other side's like, no, I got to stay on those core habits and stuff like that.
For sure.
So it's like making sure that you stay on track.
Stay on
keep
track.
Checking on yourself. Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that you have to check yourself,
because
we're all going to go through certain days and certain times where we just don't want to do it. We wake up in the morning, it's like, man, we know we have to knock out these certain core habits to outwork everyone, right?
Yeah.
And outwork ourselves within, so we can then become the person that we always wanted to be. The person that when we were little kids, we dreamed to become. When we're little kids, a lot of us want to become something. And then as soon as we grow older and older and older, we hit so many trials and tribulations, so many downfalls.
Yeah, so many hiccups in life.
So many hiccups in life, to the point where it's like, man, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to be great anymore. I'm not sure if I want to be great. And that's when you got to tell yourself straight up, look, every single successful person and that has touched significance in life, they've gone through hell and back. They've gone through more failures and more no's than us, than you that's watching this, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, just keep on telling yourself, keep on pushing yourself. Because when you're in your head, you're dead, right? Just like we were saying, Chad, when you're in your head, you're dead.
Yeah.
Take notes, write that down. When you're in your head, you're dead.
Yeah.
So try to get out of your head. Try to get out of the rut. Try to get out of that negative cycle, because we're all going to experience negative cycles regardless.
Yeah.
However, if you wake up with a positive attitude and try your hardest to tell yourself, I'm going to be great today. I'm going to outwork myself. And when I outwork myself, then I'm for sure going to outwork everyone, because you have to outwork yourself first, right? you come first. You're with yourself 24/7. If you're laying in bed throughout the entire night, and then you wake up, it's like, yo, I don't know if I want to do this. Now you're trying to, you got to outwork yourself before you go out there and outwork everyone else in the world.
Yeah. I think it's also a lot of reframing of that stuff too. Like as soon as you have those thoughts and whatnot of taking the lower path, you know, you can take the higher path and, you know, do the right thing per se, but you know what the right thing is for yourself.
Right.
Absolutely. But if you take the lower path, you're just adding another L, but you can reframe that to where it's like, okay, if you have those doubts or if you're going through a lot in life, it's just going to make your story that much better.
Yeah.
You know,
Facts.
like no one ever like made it to the top of the hill and said, oh, that hike was easy. They're like, no, I almost wanted to give up 15 times.
Right.
You know, I had these situations happen where my bag ripped and then half my stuff emptied out. You know, you have like those resistance things, but it just creates a more entertaining story for others to listen to. And it's also just part of life.
For sure.
You know, and if you look at any movie too, it's not like the hero just woke up one day, went on his journey, and then he made it to the top. No, there's a lot of stuff that happens in between, right? Heartbreak, destruction, disappointment, setbacks. And so it's like with your life, think of it like that. Like you're the main character of your story.
Right.
And it's up to you to vote on yourself. You know, do you actually truly care who you are and what you're going to become? And that's why it's really healthy to reframe those things that do set you back to where it's like part of your story.
Absolutely.
Because then at the end of your life, you're going to be like, wow, I had a lot of ups and downs, but I stayed positive and I kept going.
Right.
You became something because you had the resistance, just like we all experience.
Man.
But you kept pushing through that.
Facts.
Yeah.
You just got to continue pushing through.
Yeah.
You know, just like what you said, your story.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a story to tell.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, it's like when you're writing out your story, when you're finishing your story, do other people want to actually read your story to the point where they can actually take from it and actually be like, damn, man, that person just motivated the hell out of me. Now I can just continue pushing on with my life because they had a struggle. They had ups and downs. They have the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, they made sure to just keep on going, regardless of if you don't want to do something. Man, Chad, I kid you not, bro. Like the past few days, I've been struggling when it comes to just continuously pushing forward and just making sure like I'm become the best version of myself. But that's the beautiful thing about my story.
Yeah.
Is that that's part of my story. And I know for sure it's going to impact thousands of lives out there, you know, especially with this podcast.
Would you like to talk about that? Like, I think the last like first couple episodes, I got raw and real with some of my thoughts and
for sure
holding me back and all that. Was there anything you wanted to share in the last couple of days?
For sure.
Maybe you're like, hey, this is like an example of that. Here's what happened. Here's what I'm going through. This is what I want to overcome. Is there anything like that?
For sure.
Not to get like too detailed, unless you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on some little snippets of it.
Yeah.
I would say when it comes to like entrepreneurship, right? So when it comes to entrepreneurship, that can be the toughest battle because now you're literally voting on yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't like structure it properly, the entrepreneurship can feel like, damn, I don't know if I'm doing this properly. I don't know if I'm doing it right. And with me recently, it's been like, yo, it's okay to have a job. Jobs are good. Jobs make this country, the United States of America, go round and round and round, and make sure that certain things are amazing. You know, because a lot of like countries they don't have jobs. A lot of third world countries, like in Nigeria, that's where I'm from, a lot of people are struggling right now because of the construction of jobs. So when it comes to me, I probably shouldn't have, you know, left a certain position so quick because I didn't plan it structurally. I didn't really plan it accordingly, you know. And it's all good to be vulnerable, right?
So you took like a misstep.
Exactly, I took a little misstep, but at the same time, like now, it's like yeah, there's I have a lot of connections, so I'm not really worried or tripping about nothing. But then again, too, that's part of my story. I have a lot of connections because I always tell myself I have to outwork everyone in a humbly speaking tone. right?
Yeah.
I'm out working everyone, but at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna step on another person's shoes. I'm not gonna burn any bridges per se. I'm gonna continuously push forward and actually ask for help. Asking for help can help you within, help you outwork yourself to the point where it's like, okay, I thought I had it all together. I thought I had it all together when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to a certain move and whatnot. But at the same time, I was moving too fast. When you move too fast, you can end up crashing out.
Was it also like you could say like an emotional thing too?
Man, there's
Maybe got like emotionally excited, so maybe you rushed
for sure.
a situation, so you maybe didn't think clearly or saw the whole picture.
Yeah,
'Cause I've done this.
yeah. I would say, bro, like I was emotionally high to the point I was like, man, I'm fired up. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to start my entrepreneurship journey completely.
Yeah.
Even though I am still on that journey.
Yeah.
You know, that journey is never gonna stop.
Oh yeah, no.
But at the same time, when you let your emotions take control of your inner thoughts, it could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Even though you might be emotionally high, right? But at the same time, if you're so emotionally high and you let your emotions take over, reality is going to come crashing down eventually. You know, and that's a learning point that you can learn too. You know, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to not let your emotions take over completely.
Yeah.
You know,
It's okay to take L's too.
for sure.
Like, oh man, I
For
made a
sure.
step right there. Or oh, that was a really bad decision.
Absolutely. Taking L's. Taking
those
L's.
L's.
Take those L's out there. If you've ever
Yeah.
taken an L, I want you guys to write your story. Write your story. Write a comment inside this entire chat, okay? About you taking the L and you overcoming that L.
Yeah. We'd love to hear about that. So
Absolutely.
I'll take L's.
For sure.
You know, what are yours? Is there anything that you feel like you want to share that adds some value to some people? You know,
Man,
we'll comment back.
for sure.
Be really cool to see like some input.
Absolutely. A black man in chat. Let's go. Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, child, I would say when it comes to like the past few weeks and when for me per se, it's been ups and downs. But then again, too, that's a part of my story.
Yeah.
That's part of our story, you know.
Yeah.
It's
That's actually that's interesting. So that's like what you've been going through the last couple of weeks. What I've been going through is kind of different.
yeah.
It's more of like a transformational period
Okay.
where it's like old habits or old things that I had in my life. I'm kind of letting go to make way for something new. Like just say, for instance, I reinvented my room. Sounds kind of minor, right? But it's like your environment where you spend the majority of your time, right? Your house. If you reinvent that, you change things up, you swap things in and out, you'll be surprised how much you actually feel like a different person or encourages you to be a different person. Like, this is funny. I've never had a desk in my life.
Right.
Not that I can remember, at least. I actually had like a desk in my room, right? A place for my new laptop to sit on, do some work. And I noticed that that has changed my mentality a lot just by getting rid of some old shelves and stuff to make room for this.
Right.
So it's like a reinvention sort of thing where it's like, okay, this is like a new chapter in my life. It's time to let some things die and fizzle out so I can make room for new things. You know, making those big steps where it's like, you know, this certain thing served me in the past, but then now it's like time for something different.
Right.
You know, I think people do that all the time. They either like drop one church or, you know, they pick up a new church, have a new friend group, I would say is like a big change.
For sure.
Yeah, just making moves and realizing that you kind of outgrow some stuff, or maybe you personally need to outgrow stuff to make way for new. I know that's totally different than what you said right there,
Bro,
that's
on
kind of
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
It just kind of shows like how you're going through some stuff. You know, with like, you know, maybe taking an L here and there, all that, but looking positive and looking forward. And then here's like my side where it's like, oh, change is happening.
Right.
You know, and change is scary, right? We have those episodes. You know, taking L's is scary. It sucks.
For sure.
But it's like we're both moving forward regardless of whatever's going on in our lives.
Absolutely.
You know, because the train don't stop.
The train doesn't stop at all.
Yeah.
At all. You know, whenever it comes to taking an L, we can talk more about taking L's. Like we've all taken the L's. I'm sure you've taken the L in your life.
Yeah.
You know,
realizing you wasted a lot of time on something that's not fruitful.
Right.
That could be an L.
For sure.
That could be a relationship, a business, a job. You know, and you're going, man, I spent, 2 years doing that, or 5 years, or 10 years. And you're like, damn, like that wasn't where I thought it was going to take me,
For sure.
and you're like, oh, that's a humbling experience.
Absolutely. It can also be like hobbies. I'm sure you guys have some hobbies out there that you're probably like, man, I don't know if playing this video game is gonna do any good for me. I don't know if I'm gonna become an NBA star at this NBA Live video game. That's when you can tell yourself too, like that could be an L. If it's not really helping you improve as a person in general, or be the best version of yourself, it's like you have to cut that out, cut it off.
Sometimes I think that just happens naturally too.
True.
Where you all of a sudden just hit this point where maybe you're doing like a lot of video games or something. You're like, you know what? There's something in you that changes or transforms. You're like, this isn't what I want in my life anymore. Playing video games or playing a specific video game where you sink a lot of hours, if it's still a side hobby, cool. If it's something you burn off steam every once in a while, I don't think there's a problem with that.
For sure.
Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But you hit this point where it's like, gosh, this isn't the same. Just like if you're super big into Marvel and now you're not, right? For whatever reason, maybe you liked the old movies, or maybe just something changed where you're like, I kind of outgrew it, or maybe you just don't like the direction it's going. See how you transform and change.
Absolutely.
It's like, I stayed with it until this point. Now it's time for something new.
Right.
Time to change, trying to have something new in your life. Or maybe you're just done with movies.
Damn.
Maybe you're adding something new to your plate, like working at a desk or something. I don't know.
For sure. For sure. And that's the thing too, is that when it comes to like change, you're gonna receive a whole lot of L's when you're trying to change.
Yeah.
When you're trying to outwork yourself and outwork everyone.
Yeah.
You're gonna receive so much adversity and trials and tribulations to the point where it's like, yo, I don't know if you stop playing video games is actually gonna be worth it. But at the same time, if you actually tell yourself it's gonna be worth it eventually.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to just looking up to other people that are successful in life, you got to ask yourself, like, do they play video games every single day like I'm playing video games, or do they watch pornography like I do, like every single day? Not me per se.
Wow,
I hope you don't. I hope you don't watch any of that nonsense. I hope you not
watch that stuff.
Go out there and cold approach some females and say hi to girls if you guys want to actually get out there and get out and about and get some action.
Some action.
But yeah, it's like it's gonna be such a challenge.
Yeah.
For like change.
Yeah.
I think change that's the biggest challenge in general. Because who wants to change really? And you might tell yourself out there like, yeah, I'm listening to this episode 10 podcast for the Black Man in Chat. I'm gonna listen to it, and what they're talking about, I'm gonna implement it within my life. And next thing you know, once you're done watching this, you don't really implement certain changes and aspects on what we're telling you guys to do.
Oh, I'm guilty of that times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too.
You hear something really good, you're like, I should really start doing
that. I got this.
And then you get distracted, or you go to the next video, or you just do something where as soon as you open your front door, you're like, what was that I was listening to? What was that thing I was supposed to remember? Forget it.
Right.
And then it just disappears.
Right. But then again, too, that's when you got to take accountability, right?
Yes.
A lot of people nowadays, they lack taking accountability.
Yeah.
When you take accountability, you can pretty much trick your brain into the point where it's like, it might hurt. It might hurt at first, telling myself, I thought I had it, but I guess I don't have it. I guess I didn't do what was said, But then again, too, that's when you got to just go out there, do what you got to do, man.
And that's a big thing, too, is not, there's like two ways I want to say this. It's like not bullshitting yourself,
right?
Being very truthful and not letting that ego take over. Where the ego's like, oh, everything's fine, or oh, it's not so bad. Like there's a way to be positive.
For sure.
But like, what's the truth behind it? Are you saying all this stuff just to keep your ego inflated and happy? Or are you just gonna be like, no, I need to break this down some. I need to be truthful where it's like I said I was gonna do this thing and I didn't fall through, or I took this huge misstep and I'm sugarcoating the destruction it did.
Right.
You really have to like shut your door and like just spend some time with yourself and see like,
absolutely,
am I being truthful to myself? Or am I kidding myself in some way, shape, or form, right? You know, and that could be very outreached. Like that could be any area in your life too.
For sure.
Like, am I really winning right now, or am I kidding? You know, am I parking it right now, or am I just making a lot of silly mistakes? And am I not owning it?
Damn.
You know, it's totally up to you if you want to.
For sure.
You know, if you want to continue living how you are, yeah, like it's your life, do what you want. But if you're looking to like get on the track of being better, that's something you can do. Is really like sit down and go, okay, what am I doing that's something I know I'm lying about?
Right.
Am I really lying about how great I am? Or am I being truthful in that? You know, just like looking for those like little holes here and there.
For sure.
You know, because the whole goal is just to make yourself better, right? To live a happier life. Don't get to age 80 and go, I have a whole list of regrets.
Right.
No, that's not cool.
Man.
That sounds more worse than just facing your demons right now.
For sure.
Or just facing what you've got to face. It's had to be some kind of demonic thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facing your demons, that could be the toughest thing, man. You know, especially when
Especially if it hits close.
Yeah, exactly.
If it hits really close, there's a lot of shielding you want to do to protect that.
Absolutely.
Because it's like one of your weakest spots. It's like kryptonite with Superman, right?
Straight up.
Know, he stays away from that stuff for a reason. Just like how if something's very sensitive for yourself, you run away.
Right.
Yeah. But as you're saying.
And but then again, too, like that's when you guys are gonna grow like the most, is when you actually face those demons, face the tough times. You know, tough times is gonna happen. But then again, too, like it can just be a storm that's gonna pass. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like you telling yourself certain things, you might be lying to yourself. You might not be doing great today. And you told other people, yeah, I'm doing great. And then you're gonna go home later on and then you're gonna start beating yourself up mentally.
Yeah.
So those tough times when the demons are beating each other up, when they're winning within your own head, when in your head you're dead, those are the times to really, really reflect on certain things and just try your hardest to just tell yourself, better days are coming.
Yeah.
Better days are coming. And the more time you tell yourself better days are coming,
yeah,
it's gonna be even more helpful for you.
I think also too, to kind of piggyback off of that, I think a lot of times emotions are your body telling you something isn't right. Kind of like when you hear like someone's like depressed.
Right.
There's different levels of that, of course. But I think when someone's like, oh, I'm depressed, I think it's your body saying to yourself that something in your life is incorrect and it needs fixing or it needs attention.
For sure.
Like if you're just not happy living in your 1-bedroom apartment paying $2,000 for it, you might be depressed just because that living situation is not, you truly don't want that.
Right.
You want to move up. You're looking for a strategy to move up. But since you plateaued and you stayed there, or maybe just like some like kind of like what I'm saying, like you got to drop old habits and start new.
Yeah.
You might be depressed because you know in your heart it's time to stop habits.
Damn.
Some habits. Right. And I think we all
take notes. Take notes.
Yeah, I think we might outgrow habits. Just like when you're 14, these were your favorite bands, right? But then when you're 18, you have a whole new list of bands, maybe. When you're 25, you probably have a different group of bands too. You still enjoy them all
for sure,
time to time, but you don't really plug into those old bands anymore. Like I used to like a lot of classic rock bands.
Okay.
I haven't listened to a classic rock song on my phone in a long time. But it's just because I transformed and changed. It'd be like if you just stayed there listening to the songs you played when you were 14.
Yeah.
You're not growing and you might even be depressed because you're like, something new.
Right.
I don't know if this is really correlating to what I'm saying, like with depression, but it's like you can see how if you stay in one spot, even just something simple as music, you're not growing, if you're not transforming, if you're not changing, your body wants it, your soul wants it.
Right.
There could be some issues there.
Absolutely.
That get created.
Absolutely. And speaking of like depression can for sure fall into this entire talk of outgrowing yourself and outworking yourself and outworking everyone else, right? Because when it comes to depression is I think it's gonna actually happen. I'm sure you've been depressed. I'm sure there's been certain times in your life, Chad, where you've been depressed too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even myself is rare for me to be depressed or have anxiety.
Getting depressed. Yeah, that's actually another thing too. Is a lot of people hide it.
For sure,
they hide it with smiles,
for sure,
positivity and stuff. But it's like as soon as they get out of the scene,
yeah,
and they're back at home, they're like a totally different person.
For sure, And but then again, too, that's when you gotta change certain habits, like we've been talking about since.
Yeah,
change certain habits to then you feel better and better. You're growing more. You're growing more. And next thing you know, you're outworking yourself. You're outworking everybody else out there, and everything's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, when it comes to being depressed, I think everyone has to go through certain negative times within their lives to actually know, like, yeah, there's gonna be some times where God is gonna, if you believe in God or not, God's gonna really challenge you to see if you actually with the shits and see if you're actually serious about growth and see if you're serious about where you want to be in life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's gonna be negative times that's gonna hit you, but then again, too, that's when you can for sure change it up and change your mindset. Like, yo, everything's happening for me, not to me. I'm good. I'm not tripping. It's okay.
Yeah. And everybody has challenges too.
For sure.
Your life will throw you challenges to see if you're for real or not.
Every day.
You know, you could say God, or you could say no God, or you could say just your life.
Man.
There will be challenges handed to you to see what you're made of.
For sure.
And I think a lot of us, because we do kind of live in a squishy society.
Absolutely.
Like if we wanted something to eat, we could go swipe a card and go get food made for us.
Right.
If we don't have money, we use our gift card.
Right.
Or not gift card, sorry,
Something,
credit card.
gift card,
like
whatever.
There's so many freebies our society has.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of made us a squishy society where it's like, oh, if there's any challenges or anything that's kind of hard, we look for the easy way to avoid it or like to loop around it.
Man.
Like, oh, there's a big boulder in my road. I'll just drive around it. It's like, no, you should probably face that, fix that problem.
Right.
Otherwise, it's gonna go into the next day.
For sure.
The next day. Like you gotta, like it's like, once again, you gotta face those hardships.
Right.
You know.
Damn.
But our society doesn't teach that. It's like, oh, if you don't feel good, just take this drug.
Wow.
Take this pill, right? Or, oh, if you're not happy, you know, here's Netflix for you.
Right.
You know, here's something where you can escape your problem.
Damn,
instead of circling back and facing it.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's like you're numbing the pain. A lot of people out there try numbing the pain. I'm sure you've tried certain things in your life where you're just like, man, I'm sure I could just numb the pain by just taking this certain dopamine hit.
Yeah, you had a hard day, so it's like, let's pop an edible.
Right.
You know, let's drink with some friends, right? Go hang out with some friends and just do nothing.
Right.
You know, some kind of escape.
For sure. Some type of escape, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, are those certain traits and habits that you're trying to escape, are those good habits? You know, or when it comes to just going out, hanging out with your friends, even though you know those said friends aren't really going on the certain path that you want to go on, you know, because they might be just drinking or smoking or doing certain drugs and whatnot. That's when you have to change certain habits.
Yeah.
It might be hard, but then again, too, that's why sometimes I would say be alone. It's okay to be alone at times and actually just find yourself within to the point where you can then figure certain things out by yourself and, of course, ask for help.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's okay to be alone. I've noticed, Chad, a lot of people, I'm sure you too out there, viewer, you guys aren't good with just being alone.
So I love being alone.
Right. Me too.
Sometimes
I love
I'm like, can I just not hang out with anybody today?
Right.
You know?
Right.
But there's responsibilities and stuff. But
for sure.
You know, there's time and places for those things.
Right. And I'm sure you can get to that point, Chad, because you actually truly love yourself. If you truly love yourself, you can for sure be alone and for sure make sure like you're becoming a certain individual where other people want to be just like you. Why? Because you've worked on your certain habits. Why? Because you've got away from certain old habits and old friendships and whatnot. You didn't bullshit yourself, right?
Yeah, you don't have like those safeguards in the way where it's like, oh, I'm protected and safe from facing what you need to face.
Right.
So then you have this outward appearance of being happy, but behind closed doors, you're like, I really don't like who I am because I keep escaping the things I know I need to face.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It can get deep. It could get really, really deep.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's something you said. Oh, speaking of like, okay, let's say you're hanging out with like a group of friends and you know they're not really going where. One thing I wanted to kind of add to that is you'd be surprised how if you step up and you start doing specific things, you could encourage your friend group to do it.
Facts.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a leader. Or especially if you're a leader already.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. Like just you leading yourself could in fact lead your friend group and stuff to do more healthy
goals.
Healthier things.
Goals.
Yeah. And it's it's cool. Hey, it can change like a whole dynamic of a group. If you're like just say it's just very easy just because it's such a simple thing everyone can do. Be like, if your friend group does not go to the gym, but you're the one that decides to start go. You start making healthier food option choices and stuff. Your friends will see that, probably tease you about it because they're your friends, right? That's what friends do. Or they might be encouraged by it and they're like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start doing this. Like there was like, I think it was like back in March or something. I had one friend that said, oh, we started a 70-day challenge.
Yeah.
Another person picked it up. And then a couple other people started doing healthier choices for that month. Just because one of them was just like, I'm going to do the 7-day challenge where you have to do these things or else.
Right.
Yeah, restart it. It's like a punishment. But it's so cool how they did it first. And then all the other friends in the group decided to do it too.
It trickles down. Yeah.
To some extent. Yeah.
That's powerful right there because it can just start with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to start with somebody else, your friends or them or your enemies or the person that's watching this podcast or the person you're in a relationship with. It can just start with you.
Yeah.
When it comes to just starting with you, you could then become a leader. And next thing you know, you're like, damn, you then have like your peers that are looking up to you. It's like, man, Chad, he actually did it. He actually stepped outside his comfort zone, stepped outside of his box.
Yeah.
And now he's actually outworking everyone.
Yeah.
Outworking me, outworking everyone. But then again, too, that's when you can become a leader to the point where people are actually looking up to you.
Yeah.
When people look up to you, it's always a good thing. There's a reason why we started this podcast, because people look up to us in general when it comes to we're in Reno, Nevada right now. But at the same time, we do travel frequently. And we have a lot of people out there that are going through a lot of certain situations that we've gone through, Chad, and that we can like teach on how to live like a fruitful lifestyle. We've actually lived it. We're actually living through it. We're actually going through certain things right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's when it's like, we're going to outwork everyone when it comes to this whole podcast world. Even though this is only episode 10, wait till episode 100. Wait till we actually bring on more people on the podcast, right? And it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there's room for growth.
Room for growth.
Yeah. One thing you said that I really like, it's like you could be the leader of that friend group or whatever the scenario is.
Right.
The thing is, you don't have to be. You could just wait for someone else to do it. Absolutely. And then you follow them. But why? Why wait on it?
Why wait?
Why do you want to wait on your spouse to say, hey, let's go on a fitness journey together?
You take the lead.
Why don't you just take the lead? You don't even have to tell them, hey, we are going to do this. Just be like, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then just give it a shot. Do it. Start producing. You'd be so surprised how it's like you're waiting for someone to say, okay, you can do it. But the only person you should be waiting on to say that is yourself. Damn. Like you should be the one that's saying, okay, it's time to do this. Because once again, it's kind of going back with the inner battles where the things you have to face.
Right.
You know what you personally have to face, like whoever's watching this. Because I know my list.
For sure.
You know your list.
Absolutely.
Of things you do, especially if you don't know. Spend some time with yourself alone with no phone, no TV, no electronics. And you're going to find it. No distractions, right? Nothing flashy. You're going to find it. So it's like, you just spend some time alone, then you know what you should be facing. Then you can lead yourself and go, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to start. Or tomorrow's going to be the day I start. And I actually mean it. And then giving it a shot.
For sure.
And if you fail, we already covered that in another episode, right?
It's all good. Yeah.
Fail forward, right? Keep going.
Exactly.
Never give up.
Never give up. Keep
right.
going. Never give up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, Chad, is that all of that's going to suck.
Yep.
It's all going to suck to the point where it's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this today.
I don't know if I want to either.
I don't know if I want to do.
We don't want to do a podcast today.
I don't know if we want to do this podcast today.
Work kind of sucked. Kind of left me angry. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken.
Oh, a girl again?
A girl.
Another girl?
Oh, man. I don't know if we're going to do this today.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Man, oh my gosh. I don't know. I got into a car crash. I don't know if I'm going to do this today.
Dude, you don't have to, man.
I don't know if I want to
stay home.
Just stay home. Just stay in my little box.
Yeah.
Keep on going. Keep on challenging yourself. You aren't going to outwork anyone, not even yourself, if you don't step outside and actually do something about certain things that's beating you up inside.
Yeah.
man, you have to change your habits though. If you're not changing your old habits and tapping into brand new habits, you're gonna stay in the same box next year, the following year, the following year,
Yep.
and so forth. Next thing you know, when you're in your head, you're what? You're dead. We've been saying that since.
Yeah.
When you're in your head, you're dead.
Yeah.
So how on earth are you gonna outwork anyone? You got to outwork yourself first, and you have to actually believe it. You actually have to believe it, and then you actually have to make those beliefs turn to actions, right? I think that's a huge thing, Chad. A lot of people, when it comes to trying to outwork people or outwork themselves, there's no really action behind it. You have to have actions behind it. You can't just speak it, continue speaking it, keep on speaking it. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna go to the gym today. I'm gonna outwork everyone. I'm gonna stop having some big old flabby titties. I'm gonna get some pectorials. But then you're in bed licking some ice cream,
Scrolling on your phone.
trying to
Yeah.
say, I'm gonna get this bad girl right here. I'm gonna get this bad bitch. I'm gonna get this sexy girl.
Nice.
How are you gonna get her when you look like that, little buddy?
Once again, be truthful with yourself.
Be truthful, man.
Do you want that? Are you, how do I phrase this? Are you worthy?
Are you worthy?
And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but once again, if you just look at yourself, you're like, am I really worthy of this 10? Would this 10 turn her head and be like, whoa, hey, those are nice? No, she would. You're just being truthful with yourself. It's not that possible.
Right.
Yeah, just get gritty and get real. Like, fall in love with doing actions.
For sure.
Not thinking about things, not fantasizing about things, but falling in love with taking action and living your life. Like, what do your eyes see? Are they just looking at screens all day and the same four walls in your house? Or are they actually like seeing some cool stuff?
Right.
You know, you're out and about, you're doing things, you're talking to new people, you're having experiences in a very fruitful life.
Right.
Or are you just staying inside, living your life through a screen? Right? Like, oh, I want to watch like a really cool game show like Survivor. Oh, cool, you watch it, and these people are there physically on a tropical island,
right,
living the elements, outwitting each other, but not you. You're just watching it. And that's okay to watch it, but is your whole life just that? Just a screen? Oh, pretty girls, talking on a podcast with two dudes. Are you there talking to them and having the conversations before and after the podcast, or are you just watching what they want to show you on the screen? Stop doing the screen living. I think your life is a lot more valuable.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this guy who's really fit in this superhero movie, or this girl who's really fit that's playing sports or whatever. Why aren't you living that life that person's living?
Exactly. It's like we're all human, right? Like, I'm black, he's white, I'm black man in chat, right? But at the same time, it's like we're gonna be great because we keep telling ourselves that, but at the same time, we're working on ourselves every single day to become great.
Oh, I can't wait to rewatch these videos in like 10 years.
Oh, it's gonna be epic.
Like, oh God, that was me. Episodes 1 through 10, I was awkward and weird. That's funny. It's like, around episode 150, I started to get better.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. But that's the thing, Chad, is that who knows? We probably suck at this right now, but who really gives a damn if we suck? Because we're gonna continue pushing forward and continuously grow from this.
Yeah,
and we're next thing we know, exactly, we started the journey.
Yeah, we started the journey. We're sharing the journey of literally episodes through episodes, every episode.
Literally,
yeah.
And at the same time, I already know, like, when certain people are going to tune into this episode, they're going to be like, damn, these two, they have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this off.
But at the same time, it's like, you have to start somewhere, and it's okay to be average. Anything you start, you're not going to be the best at. When Michael Jordan started playing basketball, he wasn't the best at. He got cut I believe his sophomore year in high school.
Yeah.
It's like, but he kept on working, right? He kept outworking himself and outworking other people.
And that's like going back to the whole string thing. It's like everyone's impressed with athletes,
right?
That one in particular, because of what you see behind the screen. Oh, wow, look how great he is on the court. how great he is talking to people when he's getting interviews and these like curveball questions and stuff. It's like, yeah, you're seeing the highlight reel of someone who lives this, sleeps this, eats this every day,
Right.
trains on this every day. It's like, that's going back to like, instead of you living your life through a screen, just being in awe of everybody else, why don't you create something like that yourself? With your eyes, you're living that.
Right.
You're not watching someone play on the court. You're the one on the court, at least in your life, whatever degree that may be.
Absolutely. But at the same time, you have to have the willpower. You have to have you need the mental calluses. You need that strength within.
Yeah.
You need that confidence within. The only reason why we started this podcast, like out of the blue, Chad, is because we have confidence, man. Mm-hmm. To actually just dive into and just see what we got to talk about. See what happens, right?
Yeah.
There's so much value that's going to be implemented within this podcast to the point where I know you and you and you and you and you and you and you are going to be taking a lot of notes. Next thing you know, you're going to implement it within your own life.
Yeah.
And be like, damn, that one episode when they talk about like outgrowing themselves, outgrowing other people, I actually took that all into play when it comes to like changing myself and old habits and implementing brand new habits. Yeah, you're welcome. But at the same time, it's like we're learning too from this.
Yep.
We're humble people ourselves to the point it's like, yo, this is gonna help us out. And then some, Chad. It's like, and you too. It's gonna help you guys out for sure.
Yeah.
Where you just gotta continue pushing forward. You have to continue pushing forward.
Yep.
Even though it might not make sense to begin with, it might not make sense. It might not make sense. And that's okay. You had to start somewhere.
Yep.
And you got to continue to grow from there.
Yeah. So you build yourself up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If there's any stories or anything in the comments that we talked about today you guys want to share, love to hear.
We would love to hear.
We're real people, right? We do things every day in our lives.
For sure.
It's not related to this, We're just curious what your life is like. So if you want to share on anything we talked about up to this point, I'd love to read and just see like what kind of person you are.
Absolutely.
What are you about, right? We're sharing random stuff here and there on this. What do you have to share? If you want to. You don't have to, of course. If you do, post something in the comments. We'll check it out.
For sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe button as well, and make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a hater, tell a family member about this podcast, A Black Man and a Chad. Make sure you guys drop some comments in there and converse with us. We'll for sure respond back, and it's a beautiful thing. Keep going and never give up.
Yeah, that's how you make friends.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Peace.